Hello, so I'm going to cover a little bit of foundations in organizational change. I'm taking this information from Kotter 1996 that we can find on page 93 in the textbook. And it's the practices in leading change, and I want to add to it. So, number one is establishing a sense of urgency. So, we want to change in an organization. A sense of urgency can be, well, we'll have efficiency gains, we'll save money. If we change to this using technology more, then we'll be spending less because we'll have technology systems and processes in place. But I found that you get people to action more by instilling fear rather than some reward. So with this sense of urgency, leaders or U.S. change agents can pitch, well, we'll have an efficiency gain. But it's really, you're going to get fired if you don't do this. That will get people's butts moving. Bottom line, it's like you put a fear. Creating the guiding coalition. So this is where you build your team of leaders in your company or organization or your team or your board of directors. You build the team that will help lead the change. Now, in your career, you're going to get stuck on teams. Sorry, there are going to be more times earlier in your career until you get later and more advanced, and you can have your own team. You can put your own board of directors together. You can hire your own executive and vice presidents and of departments. You're probably going to be stuck with others who you didn't pick. So if it's a change coming from the leader of your organization, that's one thing. You guys all kind of have to work together to follow it. But if you're trying to implement the change interdepartmentally in a company and you're trying to work with people in the company, it's going to be harder because you didn't pick those people. So I want you to know this one thing. It's not your leadership skills at that point or time, because when you get to a point, you'll have the leadership skills to select your team. And you're going to do the best with what you got. So with the team you have, do the best that you got. Develop a vision and strategy. Many times when it's the team that you didn't pick and you kind of have to put something on them, what I do is I put the idea or the change on steroids, which is a saying, I don't know, I make it to extreme, like I don't say, hey, we're going to change and we're going to get computers for the office. I say we're going to put it on the cloud and we're going to go automated customer service through forums and boards on computer. Like, I will go all the way out just to get people to change just a little bit. So developing the vision and strategy, and it depends on your audience, make it huge or small. I mean, it's smaller if you have people who are you can work with and they are implementing the change and you're doing things. But if it's people who are hard to budge, make the vision grander, as grand as possible, as all the way out there. And you'll know that even if you don't get to that vision, that end, and you made like a little incremental goal, that's fine, because you're still doing something. You're implementing some sort of change, and it comes later in the list. Communicating the change vision. Well, I was just talking about that. State it. And whether you're going to say a little or a lot of it matters on the type of organization, the people around you. Is it your company? Is it somebody else's? Did you inherit these other leaders to work with? Did you select them yourself? If you selected them yourself, these people, yeah, go ahead, tell them that grand vision and that big out there, but also give them the small ones. And this is where it says, generating short-term wins and consolidating gains and producing more change. So, well, let's rewind, because empowering broad-based action, you let them go and see how far they can get, your leaders. You've tasked them with this change and you're like, hey, go. I'm going to remove policies, rules, things that are barriers. I'm going to let you go ahead and see if you could start to move in this direction where we're using more up-to-date technology. Well, I seem to stick on this subject a lot. And improve our systems and processes through using technology so that manpower can be reduced, headcount can be reduced. And it's savings when headcount is reduced. And on the other side, it's also great when you do create jobs in the world. So, I mean, there's pros and cons either way. So creating short-term wins, implementing. So the short-term wins, so this is where the vision is so great, but you have your team of leaders, and say you didn't give them the little mini goal. Well, you do break it down and you give them these little milestones. And it's a matter of constant, feedback and regard and just being thankful for the little change that happened. As a leader myself, I have found myself just wanting it to already happen and already be done and just waiting for everybody else to jump on board. And people work like 2 years behind me easy. So like I have to have like a 2-year grace period, minimum 2-year grace period when I'm implementing, and I have this vision that's so out there and I start implementing a change in an organization. I could say, well, in 1 year, let me be happy with if they got this far. And so I'll be happy if they got that far. Even though it wasn't where I just said, hey, let's get to here. Got to be socially aware and patient. So anchoring new approaches in the culture. So then, so say it takes 2 years to even get to this one place, then it has to become a habit of the people who work there to just, hey, we are using technology more. Every time a communication comes in from the legal department, we upload it and save it to a cloud where future people who work here can access and see that. That's like anchored in, like when it becomes a habit to like get a document, scan it, and put it in a knowledge base in an organization so that that information is saved and known and searchable and could be used in the future, instead of being, here's this paper came from this lawyer and this vice president saw it and then nobody else saw it. And then that vice president retires and then it's like, okay, well, what happened? It's better to have this internal knowledge base. So, and that's anchoring a new approach in a culture in the example of technology that I was using for this talk. So, the top secret thing that I wanted to give you in addition to these was have the vision be, you can have the vision be super greater, but know that you've made that vision for change so great and grand. Always strive and want for that, but be okay with the little bit that happens, because it really is going to be a little bit and it's going to take time, and you'll get to know yourself as a leader or as a change agent, and we're all going to do this because it's inevitable. It doesn't matter what field you're in, you're going to have to deal with some change in some part of your life experience in your career. So I'm telling you from the perspective of a leader in an organization, a person on a board of directors, but you as an employee, as a manager, as a family member. I mean, changes happen in families too. You might want to say, hey, all right, let's have this family tradition and make it so great and grand that even if you do a little bit, at least people are starting to get the habit of it. Is that cool? Like, I try to relate it to the students who aren't in the corporate world. So I hope you get it, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Happy today, happy every day.